Hi, it's Cathy from inkingitupwithcathy.com, and I am back with another super cool special folds card. And this is the card that I came up with. Originally, I saw this card made by a German demonstrator, and I'm sorry, I don't know her name. I will try and find it and put it in the comments section below. But so I'm using the Nothing's Better Than stamp set and dies, and so the front is like this, and then when it opens up, it tells you that nothing is better than cocktails. And so I thought that was really cute. So let me show you how to make this card. We'll go through what you need for the card first, and then we'll go through how to make it. So what I've got is the Nothing's Better Than stamp set and the Love You More Than, and obviously this could be substituted out for any choice as far as coffee, cookies, whatever. The front of the card is using one of the masks from the pattern, the basic pattern decorative masks. I'm using Memento ink for stamping, and Coastal Cabana ink for the stenciling. Using a blending brush for the stencil. And as far as my blends markers, I'll tell you what I'm using. I'm using the light smoky slate, the light and dark granny apple green, the light poppy parade, the light and dark mango melody, the dark pool party, and the light Bermuda Bay, and then the color lifter. As far as cardstock that you'll need, I'm also using the Ornate Frames dies. If you don't have this, that pop-up can be anything that you want it to be coming out of the top. For example, here I have a different die coming up. You're just wanting to make sure that the height isn't an issue, and I'll talk to you about that in a few minutes. So I used the Ornate Frames, and as you can see, 3/4 of an inch was cut off the bottom because this can be no taller than 4 inches. Okay, so that's what you have to watch, is no taller than 4 inches here. So the card front itself is a standard 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. Okay. We'll go through this piece in a minute. Then I have a piece of Mango Melody that measures 4 by 5 1/4, and that's going to be a matting here. And the stenciled piece is 3 3/4 by 5. I have a piece of double-sided adhesive here that measures 2 by 3, and I'm going to put that in the center on the back here. I'm going to kind of do some conserving of paper by cutting my die cuts out of this because you're not going to see it. So I'm going to place that right there in the center like that. And then I have a piece of Mango Melody that measures 2 1/4 inches by 5 inches. And again, I have a piece of window sheet. Here's a piece of our old one. I've just used up the last of it. And again, this is going to go in the center back here. Just like that. Okay. I've got a piece of Bermuda Bay or Coastal Cabana, and this measures 2 3/4 square. And then I had 2 pieces of the Coastal Cabana to cut for the ornate frames, and those were 3.5 by 5 originally. Okay, and what I did do is, because of this ornateness to the outside edge, I did put the double-sided adhesive on one of them before die cutting it. Okay, so that when these go together, there is easy adhesive for them to connect to each other instead of trying to use liquid glue or something to get those to connect. I've got a piece of the rainbow glitter paper that measures 2 inches by 4 3/4 inches. A piece of Bermuda Bay that is 2 1/4 inches by 5. A basic white that is 2 inches by 4 3/4 inches. And then a 1.5 inch by 2.5 inch piece for stamping of one of the cocktails. And I went ahead and did the stamping of it ahead of time, just for time. I will be doing another one of the cocktails here, and I'll show you how I got this look to the cocktail. So you won't be missing out on that. All right, so let's get this card started. So I've got a piece of Bermuda Bay that measures 5 1/4 inches by 8.5. Get out my Simply Scored, and I'm going to put this in here, and I am scoring. It's already been scored, so I'll just go through it with you. At 1/2 inch, 2 7/8 of an inch, 5 1/4 inches, and 6 3/4. So again, it's 8.5 by 5 1/4. So from our card itself, it's the same size except for this little strip that's cut off the side. All right. So then once we've got that done, we need to do some cutting on this. The first thing is this score line here. So you've got the 1/2 inch one and then the next one over. And between, on that 2 7/8 score line, between the 1 inch mark and the 4 1/4 inch mark, you're going to slice down. So we'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to switch it around here so that I have more of this over on the side here, but this is the score line I want. And I'm going to come and I'm going to go to the 4 1/4 inch mark and the 1 inch mark. Now, how big you cut that is going to be dependent upon the size of whatever piece you're having come up and down out of here. So I think you can see that this is just a little bit larger than what I'm having come in and out of that spot. Okay, so if you did something that was narrower, say like this, coming up and down, you don't need all of this extra cut. You just want, so you want to center it and just cut a little bit on either side, enough to give it some give, but not too much. You don't want too much give. So this measurement, this 3 1/4 inch cut, is because this, when measured, is just a little bit over 3 inches, very close to 3/4 of an inch. I may decide to cut out just a little bit more. We'll see how it goes, because I can do that later. All right, so now I'm going to go to this end here, and this piece here on the end, not the 1/2 inch score one, but the other end. And I'm going to be cutting off, again, I don't want this section out here of it. I'm going to cut it in so this will glue to that, and I want it to be a little bit less than the size of this. So again, I am determining it based upon this. So I have determined that if I've got this centered in here like this, and I measure out, it's 1 inch. So I'm going to do a little bit more than that. I'm going to go ahead and do 1 1/4 inches. I could do 1 1/8 or 1 1/4, but I'm going to go ahead and do 1 1/4. And I'm going to start at that score line and off, okay? And I'm going to flip it around. I'm just going to flip it over so that I can do that same measurement over here. Find my score line. Oops. And cut again. Okay, so now I've got it in 3 pieces. And I can either use my cutter or scissors, whichever you want to. And we're going to trim off these outside edges. Like that. And like that. Okay. So now all of these are going to fold away from you. My bone folder. I'm going to fold that like that. The next one. The next one. And the next one. All right. So we'll go ahead and let's place this in the card. So the first one you're going to do is this piece here with the flap that you've just created is going to come on the top portion of your card, right meeting with that score line, and you're going to glue this down. Now I recommend liquid glue for this project because it is such a moving mechanism. So I'm going to go ahead and glue like that. And as I said, this is going to be right up against that fold. And just press up a little bit. Don't be right on the fold. Make sure that that folds nice and easy. So right there, with keeping your matting on either side. All right. Now the next thing we want to do is take a pencil, and I'm going to measure out 1.5 inches from that score line and just make a little tiny mark just like that, so I know where that is. Okay, then I'm going to take these and I'm going to secure this one to this tab here. So I'm going to put glue on the tab. And this is going to go right on there like that. So that's glued down, and I want to make sure it's pretty straight. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and get this other one. Okay. And I'm going to remove this double-sided adhesive. And I'm just going to remove just a little bit of it to start. I don't want to, I want to be able to line this up well. I'll go ahead and take my bone folder to press those two together real well. All right. So this will feed into that gap that we cut. See? Yeah, I just fed that in there. Now we've got this piece, this 1/2 inch flap. We're going to take some liquid glue. Hope I haven't lost you too much so far. That's the beauty of video. You can go back and play it over and over again. So now we're going to find that little mark. And this piece is going to go down and just meet up with that at the front. And make sure that you're staying straight along the sides, just like that. Okay, so my little tiny pencil mark is right there. Okay, you can hide it a little bit if you want, and what you're going to do is close your card and just make sure that this disappears inside your card, and you can press it all down. And now you'll see when it opens up, that comes up just like that. And you can actually get it moving even better if you just kind of keep working it and work it till it's flat. Yeah, so now it'll stand up. Okay, and close. All right, so let's start getting the other parts together now that we have this. So we've got the rainbow paper is going to go on this one, but we need to cut out that cocktails first that we're going to put right here. Okay, now word of caution, when taking this die off, that little dot of the eye gets lost, so be careful of that. So what I'm going to do is kind of feel with my hands where I'm placing the cocktails that it's on the has the double-sided tape on the other side of it. And I'm going to bring my little boss over. I also need to cut that Love You More Than from this one, but unfortunately it's too big for my little boss, so I will have to cut that out with the big one. But the little cocktail that I colored, I'll go ahead and cut him out. Cocktail. And then finally I need to cut my circle out. Look at that. Just made it. Okay, so we got our circle. So that's all I can do with this little. And I just need to die cut this. So hang on, and I'll go do that. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back, and this has been die cut out, so I can go ahead and pull those out. Now this one does not have any eyes that you need to keep track of the little dots, but it does have lots of sections to poke out. I'm going to do that real quick. All right. So we've got him put down. So the cocktails here, pull this out and get these out of here. And get my card. Now I need to make sure I recognize which way is the front of the card, and this side is facing, it's the one with the half back here. So cocktails needs to go here. this is the tricky part, is getting it on there. Probably could put it on before you put the whole assembly together is probably the better thing to do. But I'll get it. Okay, so cocktails comes right up here. Now these tend to kind of curve and not stay straight and everything. So what I found is I just put them on an angle, and then that way I'm not having to worry about if they're straight or not. So I've got the cocktails. I'm going to use my bone folder to kind of push that down. And then I'll go back and get my little dot of my eye. And now I've got to turn him over and get that backing off. And get him placed right there. And mush down well. There we go. Okay. So for on the inside of the card, on the white piece, we're going to stamp the cocktail. Right down here. And the sentiment, which is you make everything better, over here. So for coloring, I take the smoky slate, and that is the base of the glass, and the empty portion of the glass. So I just draw a line along the top, near the top, and color that in. My lime on the inside is going to be the light granny apple. And the rind will be the dark granny apple. For the umbrella, I use the dark Pool Party and the light Bermuda Bay, and do every other section of the cocktail umbrella. Just like that. Okay, for the cocktail itself, they remind me of tequila sunrises, is what they remind me of. Is I'm going to take the light Poppy Parade and draw right at the base of that gray, and then down a ways, straight across like that. Come in with the dark Melon Mambo, and I'm going to color kind of along the outside edge, and then I'm going to go up into that not Pool Party, that Poppy Parade, and kind of get that blended out. I think I've done a little too much blending. I'm going to go back in and bring in a little bit more. There we go. And then come finally with the light and get that really blending. And on this one, it kind of kept a light spot of my glass anyway, so I probably don't need to use the lifter. But if you decide you want an area that is a little bit lighter, like it's getting to be seen through the glass a little bit more, just use your lifter to take away a little of that color. All right, so that's all ready. And that is going to go on to the Bermuda Bay piece. Adhesive. Just like that. And then the glitter piece will go on to this Melon Mambo one. Oh, that's not Melon Mambo, that's Mango Melody, sorry. All right, this little glue guy, or cocktail guy, is going to get liquid glue. He's going on to the glitter, so you really want to use liquid glue. And these will go on the inside. This one's going to down here at the bottom. Just kind of line everything up. It's got kind of a large matting around it, more so than we usually do, of a 1/4 inch, but I kind of like having that be a little bit larger on this project. And then this one will go up here on here like this. And so your card will open and close just like that. Okay, so now we're going to work on the front. So we've got this piece that can go down on the front here. All right, now we're going to do our stencil. I thought I'd do a different stencil than the one that I did do on this one. I thought it would be fun to do something different. So we're going to go ahead and do this one. I'm going to take my card stock, which that's the correct size. So I'm going to put this on like this and then turn it over and get some washi tape. And because we're going to be brushing in a lot of different directions, and the fact that this, at least this stencil, is pretty open, I'm going to really tape this down well. Turn him over. Coaster Cabana. I'm going to get a scrap piece of paper, not my grid paper, and my blending brush. Now you don't have to push hard, just, you know, because you really only want it on the top of the bristles. You don't want it pushed down back in the back of the bristles. And then just lightly start adding color. Okay, I think that's good. So now I'm going to remove this, and I think that looks cool. Okay, so then this can go directly on. I run out of adhesive, so instead of, I'm going to go ahead and just switch types so I don't have to go digging out a refill. And this will go on here like that. And then the Love You More Than is going to go up on dimensionals. If you don't have any masks and you want to make this project, you could always just emboss the Mango Melody piece. That would look really pretty, and totally bypass this white layer. So then I'm going to put that right there, like that. And there is a card. So I hope you enjoyed watching that, and you tune in again for another project. And check out my blog at inkingitupwithcathy.com.